Hi everyone, welcome back to Capital Cubing's podcast. And today we have the fourth edition of the podcast. And this time we have our special guest Hari Anirudh, who has not been in a podcast yet. And along with me, Kaustubh, we also have Vibhu Walia. So, Vibhu, Hari,
Yes,
welcome to the podcast.
thank you very much.
Hello. Hi, Vibhu.
Alright, so I believe we should start with the first question, which is by Rachit Soni. How you got into cubing? So I believe Hari Anirudh should answer that.
So for me, I got into cubing after I joined college, and
Alright.
I joined back in 2012. So in my first year of college, I had no idea how to solve the cube, and during my school days, I would see some classmates sometimes showing off, probably around 40 seconds average.
Yeah.
So once I got into college, I just randomly came across this flyer which said there's this Rubik's Cube workshop which is happening in one of the halls. So I just dropped in, and one of my seniors, he was conducting the workshop, and he was around 30 seconds on average. So that's how I started. I just went for 2 days, came away with some algorithm sheets, practiced, and basically started cubing that way.
I'm actually more curious about how you got into blindfolded cubing. Like, why did you decide that's your main event? Like,
Yeah, people are usually skeptical to try blindfold, let alone 3x3 and the big cubes, right?
Yeah, so naturally, like any other person, I was just trying to find that event which I can consistently podium at. Because the first few competitions I went to, I think the first four, I didn't get any podiums, and this was back in 2013 when there was not much competition at all. I mean, at least compared to now. So I was just trying out events, and so I tried out in order like 3x3. Then I tried CLL on 2x2. Didn't really get far with that. Then Cube was a new event in 2014, so I tried my main event as Cube, and I got pretty decent at it. But after that, I just happened to try out blind, and I learned MQ from Noah's tutorial, so that really helped him. So my first competition where I got a success in blind, I also came first, and from
wow.
there I just decided to take it seriously.
Alright. How did you get into cubing, Kaustav?
How did I get into cubing? Well, we had a Rubik's Cube at home, and some friends were over, and one of them could solve a Rubik's Cube. And
Alright.
it had been lying around for ages. I just never learned how to solve it. So I asked him to teach me. And he said that he can't teach me the whole thing because it will take too much time. So he taught me how to solve one layer. Like, not one face, but he showed me how to solve the first layer. And I was really content with just solving the first layer again and again and mixing it up again. And my dad, he knew how to solve the Rubik's Cube, like back when it had recently come out. So he said that,
Wow.
he said that, okay, maybe he can try to remember how he used to do it. And together we figured out how to solve like 2 layers. And after that, I was happy for a long while, just solving 2 layers and then mixing it up and solving it again. And I don't know why it took me so long to get the genius idea to go onto YouTube and search how to solve a Rubik's Cube. And then I saw that, okay, so you do solve layer by layer, and there are videos dedicated on how to solve the third layer. And
Yeah.
I finally learned that. And in my class, there were a couple of other students who knew how to solve the cube. And there was this one girl who said that her best time was 1 minute and 12 seconds. That was like a huge thing, that, whoa, 1 minute and 12 seconds was the time to beat at that time for me. Like, my friend and I had recently started, and she said she could do it. That how?
Which year was this?
This was, I think 5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly, but I think so. No, this was 2013. This was 2013, 5 years ago. And so when I finally was able to beat that personal milestone of 1 minute and 12 seconds, I realized, okay, now it's worth it, actually to time and see how fast one can actually get with solving the Rubik's Cube. And the first speed cube I used wasn't actually mine. My friend who got into cubing at the same time, he bought, obviously, a Dayan Sanchi, the stickerless one.
The
And
Michael Jackson of Rubik's Cube.
basically, So that's the first speed cube I ever used, and we went to an unofficial competition at Bluebell's school, and we placed fourth, which was kind of a bit frustrating because it was the first time we were trying this at the competition, and we came so close to podium. So that's how I decided that okay, I really want to do this, like compete with the Rubik's Cube. And till date, I've only had one podium, but at this point, I've just become more involved with organizing. I find it so much more fun than competing. So that's how I got into cubing.
Alright, that is one interesting story.
Vibhu, you.
And what about you, Vibhu?
I believe it started 2 years ago. The thing with Rubik's Cube is we always have that cousin or friend who can solve it.
Not in my case.
Okay, so usually this thing happens that we have this cousin, bua ka beta, mami ka beta, who can solve it, and he shows it off. Okay, like I can solve a Rubik's Cube, you cannot. Okay, I scramble it, you won't solve it. Solve it, I'll solve it. So it started with this sibling or cousin rivalry thing that I thought, you know what, I should try it, and yeah, I remember my exams were going on, like +1 wale, and that's how it started. Whenever I needed a break, I'd search for the algorithms and then try to solve the Rubik's Cube. Remembering the last layer, the algorithms of the last layer was the trickiest part back then, and I eventually got a hold on it, and yeah, I still average around 35-40 seconds, but yeah, I enjoy doing the whole process. So pretty mainstream, out of jealousy, I would say.
Out of rivalry, not jealousy.
Yeah, jealousy is a very strong word indeed.
Yeah, both are good motives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
they do take
yeah,
people
this is
up
how
to
it started.
world records. I'm sure they have similar starting stories.
Yeah, but they haven't taken me. Like Felix Zemdex 5x5 single is, I don't know, faster than my official average.
At 3x3?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So,
I'm pretty sure that he would have also started at some point because a friend
Yeah.
could solve it. I think
that is
there's a video that Felix posted which was long ago with him and a friend racing at the Rubik's Cube, and they were trying to beat each other. I don't know if that video is still on YouTube or not, but he was probably 11 or 12 or something in that video.
Oh, nice. And there's this one video by, I don't remember his name, who made a world record on 3x3, in which he averages around, oh no, that was a single, which was around 2 minutes and some seconds. And that kid eventually grew up to become the world champion.
The
I don't remember his name. Yeah, it is still on YouTube.
the world champion. I mean, there have only been so many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of Felix Zemdegs, we do have some recent records, world records, national records to discuss, including Felix, which is the 5x5 single, 37.93 seconds.
Wow.
It's getting a little insane to catch up with the fastest
Exactly.
big cube solvers at this point. Like there was a time when sub 1 on 5x5 was the milestone,
Was a thing. Yeah.
and now they're soon going to be sub 35, which is much faster than most people
Wow.
can solve a 4x4.
Wow. And 3x.
Yeah, sure, a 3x3 as well. And as we're talking about big cubes, we also have the 6x6 national record, which was Jeremy Singson.
Wow.
He finally
Yeah.
got the record, and without a DNF in the average, we can see what he's capable of.
Inspiration. Yeah. Whenever I am a noob, and whenever someone says Jeremy, I imagine DNF. So
Yeah, he's
having
had
an
to
NR,
face the.
making an NR is awesome. Like respect.
Yeah, he's had to face the brunt of a lot of memes. So to see him like perform like this, that's kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
And apart
So,
from the big cubes,
yeah.
we also have the big news for the Indian community right now, which is Saransh Grover's Asian record, Pyramid's average.
Yeah.
And
Great.
he has been aiming for getting into the world record or the Asian record for a long time now. Like it has not just been a thing that okay, maybe someday I'll get it, but he has I remember he's been focused at getting this. So I'm really happy for him that he finally got the Asian record, which he's been working at.
Yeah. I think everyone in the community is, because it is Asian record, right? It is supposed to be very big. And that too for pyramids, which is, I believe, very well practiced event among.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's
the
it's
other
it's
ones,
it's not a
right?
niche event. There are a lot of competitors.
Yeah.
It's kind of like 2x2 in the aspect that there are competitors, but you can get lucky. But it doesn't take away from the fact that it's an Asian record in a mainstream event.
Yeah, I think he just missed one of these records recently, I believe, where he could have made it, but I believe due to one or two solves, he couldn't do it.
Yeah, he's run
Yeah,
into a
he's
few
had some close
cases of
misses.
+2s in the past, I think, where he's
Oh, yes, that was
closely.
due to a +2, yeah.
Yeah, he's closely missed the NR, but this one's really big because it places him 6th
Yeah.
in the world.
That is awesome, mind-blowing, and he truly deserves it.
Next, we also have the 3x3 averages, which are not records, but they are pretty big
Yeah.
milestones, I would say. Like Max Park, it's not a world record, but he got the 5.99 as well as 6.003 by 3 average. And
Yeah, it's worth mentioning.
Wow.
Second person in the world to ever sub-6.
Wow, this is truly mind-blowing for a guy like me. Like, you want to imagine about it, 6 seconds, I cannot even make a plus. Like, you call it cross, right?
right across.
So I am that noob.
Well, I can't even make a cross in my whole solve at this point because I don't need one.
True power.
And Dylan Miller, who got a 6.733 by 3 average also.
Truly mind-blowing, like.
To be honest,
He
I
has
haven't
become a long
heard
way.
of him before, so have you?
Dylan Miller, I've never heard of him before.
Yeah, so he's kind of burst onto the scene.
I mean, it's kind of like when the 3x3 world record, the Korean competitor, what was his name? He came back after a few years and he got the 3x3 world record.
Seong
recently.
Bom Cho.
Right. So I know
yeah,
many
yeah.
people had heard of him, but for me it was the first time hearing his name. Apparently he used to be one of the best cubers a few years ago, but the competition overtook him and somehow he made a comeback, like with a splash with 3x3, which is the main event, and got the world record. So that was quite a comeback as well.
Yeah, he was quite well known around 2014 when I was like getting into serious competitiveness.
My
Around
first
that
competition
time.
year.
So he was he was a pretty good specialist at 3x3 and other cubic events basically. And another person like him I'd like to point out would be Prida Hong Bimoma of Thailand.
For 3x3
So-
also, right?
Not
Okay.
3x3, he's
Not
a
3x3.
blind specialist. So he used to be the Asian champion back in 2011 or something.
Okay.
Or was it 2012? I might be
man.
mixing up the years. So the point was he was really good at blind, but then he took a break like Steve Cho around 2014.
Right.
And then I had the good fortune to actually meet him in 2015 when he came for the Malaysian Open. So he happened to win blind, beating me and Ainesh at that competition. So it was nice interacting with him. And now I believe he's again taken another break and he's gotten back into memory sports. So that's quite interesting.
That is something interesting, that blindfolded events can really help your memory. Many people say that, oh, you can solve a Rubik's Cube if you have a really good memory. But I feel like blindfolded is really the event where your memory and your cubing skills align with each other.
Yeah, that's true. Like when Shivam gave his interview after winning Worlds, multi-BLD at Worlds,
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that many people would have been surprised to hear him say that he doesn't practice any memory sports on the side. He just does solves.
Multi-blind solves. But
Yeah.
I don't think Shivam Bansal has much time to do anything more than what he's already doing, considering
He does all 18 events.
all 18 events, as well as he's into stuff like astronomy, and he's into photography. He's
Yeah.
into a lot of different things at the same time. It's a pretty busy schedule for him, I'm sure, without adding memory sports to the mix.
Yeah. So, Hari, can you Tell us more about memory sports.
I wouldn't really be the person to ask, but I have tried it out a little bit. So back in 2014,
Alright.
I guess, was when I was actually practicing multiblind because DNR was much more attainable than it is now. So around that time,
Okay.
I just came across Daniel Shepard's video for Cubing World, I believe. So he just showed this link where you can go and practice different elements of memory sports, like memorizing a deck of cards with random faces, numbers, digits. So the only thing I ever practiced was binary digits, and I really didn't have a system. I used to just group the digits into groups of 4. So if it's 1011, like I just group it like that and try to memorize it. But I think there are better systems, like you have images. So if you have
Alright.
say 101, people have these 3 digits image systems, so you have an image for every combination of 3 digits. So they just memorize the
Okay,
images
interesting.
interacting with each other, and that's the order in which they memorize.
Alright. Do you believe practice can help you improve it, or it is just about your inheritance or just capacity which
It's
you
all
get
it's
from
all
your parents?
practice. At least that's what I think, because I've heard this
Okay.
interesting story. So Ben Pridmore, he's really well known in the field of memory. So he's won multiple world titles and a lot of accolades. And if you know our very own John Lewis,
Okay.
who's an
Indeed.
Indian memory grandmaster,
Yeah.
he used to be he was the first delegate for India as well in the cubing community. So I met him back in 2014 for Pragyan Cube Open. So he told me that he's met Ben Pridmore at memory events. And outside of memory sports, Ben actually has a terrible memory. Like he literally has this issue with remembering people's faces and names. So he's trained it such that he does well in the event.
Wow.
So he
Fascinating.
met John after a few years, and when John greeted him, the first thing that Ben asked John was, "Who are you?" So it's kind of
Oh my God.
extreme in that sense. But yeah, it's very trainable. I don't think it's inherited from your parents or anything like that.
So there are different types of memory, I suppose.
Alright. Yeah, because if someone follows that TV show Suits on Netflix, I've just been hooked to it. The Mike Ross, who is the protagonist, he has this thing with what do we call it? Image memory or something like that, where he just sees something and like kind of scans it and saves the image and use it for
That's
future
interesting.
reference.
I haven't ever watched Suits, but I've heard a lot of recommendations saying I should.
Yeah, it's great. You should totally watch it. Like anyone who is listening to this podcast should
Now
Yeah,
we
it's
can
on my
move on to
bucket list.
our
I've loved it.
next segment, which goes from memories to memes, and it was indeed supposed to be the
Yo.
main theme of this podcast was supposed to be about
Topic of
the
the
memes in the
podcast, yeah.
street cubing community, and maybe more specifically in the Indian cubing community, because I'm sure we're all more familiar with those. Like we've
Oh,
got
yes.
the SCIU interest notifications which pop up.
Yeah. Every time with some 5 or 10 group of people who post pictures and never cease to fascinate us.
Have you ever tried your hand at memeing, Vibhu?
Yeah, I must say. Yes, I have. I believe when I was in class 9 or 10, not about cubing, not related to cubing, but some simple stuff like the Sparta meme, the common ones like don't touch my phone or Sparta, and like the cringy ones, which I
Well, I
don't
mean,
want
when
to
you're
share.
in class 9 or 10, it is a cringy time. Everything is excusable.
Exactly. I am so happy that I deleted my account after coming in class 11. Like the old account which I made in 6th or 7th. Otherwise, Kshitij and other people would have, I don't know.
From what I've heard, that most people seem to
Humiliated me.
create new accounts eventually for Facebook, but I've only ever had one account.
So now
Wow,
I
that
mean,
is
it
awesome.
doesn't mean I don't have cringy posts from back then, but
yeah, I've seen a few of those.
I'm
Oh,
sure
we
I'm sure
all
you
know
have
you
seen
do.
them as well. That was back when the internet was the new thing, and we're discovering there are apps, there are websites. There were no apps. Websites where if you upload your face onto the
Yeah.
website, it will crop it into another image, put you on a dollar bill, put you on a wanted poster. That was that
Oh,
was the
yes,
biggest
yes,
thing.
yes, yes,
That was
yes,
the
yes.
biggest thing
Those
back then.
applications, right? Yeah.
And
This
I
image
had a
editor
thing
ones.
that
Yeah.
I would try every single possible template and post at least 2 or 3 of them on Facebook. And every couple of months, I think 6 months or 1 year, someone goes along and gives that post a bump. And so those memories of 12-year-old me
Wow.
are still very much alive because I can't.
Yeah, that is a better part of it, like the enlightened version of it. Like you can see how did you look when you were
I'm,
12-year-old,
I
13-year-old. I don't have many
I can't
pictures
bring myself
of
to
me when
delete.
I was like
I can't bring myself to
a
delete those
fresh
posts
teenager.
because it feels like well,
Yeah, because
more
they're so
like
close to your heart,
I'll
right?
be such a coward if I delete them out of embarrassment, wouldn't I?
Yeah, all right. Challenge accepted kind of person. Okay. Do you have any similar memories,
I
Hari?
kind of joined Facebook because my friend was bugging me. This was in 8th grade or so. So I didn't really become active
Okay.
until high school. So probably nothing from when I was 13 or 14. So when I was 15 or 16, yeah, my friends and I, we used to practice free running or parkour sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So we just used to upload some footage.
Okay.
So now when I look back at that footage, I just see grainy potato-like footage.
And
You can't make out much. You see, like someone's gonna ask from the present day if they see those videos, they'll ask how many pixels were in that. So I can't answer.
I haven't actually seen many memes from you, Hari. Have you ever tried making memes?
Yeah, I have on SCIU interest. I've made.
I mean,
a
I've
thing.
seen a few like now and then, but out of regular posters, I don't see your name come up that often.
Yeah, I'm not regular. I've just done it maybe less than 5 times.
Less than 5 times. Yeah, I know. I know. I've seen you made a few memes which are pretty good. So I wondered why aren't there a lot more. But
I don't know. I just haven't maybe had
Okay.
the practice that Akash has put into it.
Akash, he posts when he posts, he will post I think 7 or 8 memes within a minute. It's like he's stockpiling
back to
them
back.
so he can post all of them
Yeah.
together, which is kind of different from let's say when I post or Kunal posts. We'll post once in maybe a week or 2 weeks. Post 1, post 2, and that's it.
Yeah, and they have to be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I try to make it at least something that I myself can laugh at. If I can laugh at it myself, I think it's good enough to post. If anyone else laughs at it, good for them. That's my only standard.
Yeah, because the thing with the thing with memes is that no matter how many times have you watched them before, you will at least give a smirk at them. Okay, but the thing with jokes is that if you have listened to a joke once, you are not expected to laugh at it another time because the whole buzz has gone. But the thing with memes is that no matter how many times have you looked at it, it is funny. There is something about memes. I don't know. That might be because I love memes, but there
Like
has
I
to be
wouldn't
something.
fully agree with that, especially considering the barrage of the latest.
Okay.
How well am I known in the community or rate out of?
Well, I think
Anyone
I
want to
think,
elaborate
Oh
on
yes,
that?
yes.
Well,
yes,
that
yes.
started
wasn't
out as a
meme.
serious question from
Yeah.
I forgot his name, Adam something Speedcuber, and he's got a YouTube channel, and I think for him it was a genuine post that he wanted to know how well known is he in the community. And then after he
that's how it
posted it,
started.
I was commenting on that post, and I decided, okay, I'm just going to post the same thing, and I didn't think anyone is going to take it
Yes, you
seriously.
did.
It was meant to be an ironic repost, but after that, when it happened a few times, and finally it was when I think Aditya posted it, I thought that okay, now this has gone too far. People aren't realizing that I started reposting it ironically. Kunal Parekh, he did it ironically, but then people started really wondering. I thought that when I posted it, I added the emotion, feeling lost, and with how well known am I. I thought that's an enough
Oh, yes,
indication
yes,
to know
yeah.
that this is not a serious question. But apparently not enough. Even in our speed cubing community, we have some people who need a little extra help.
People who need aid.
People who need aid.
People who need aid.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10,
Oh my
that
God.
statement itself has been giving me. It's been making me cringe. I was talking to someone not related to the speed community, and she was asking me something on a scale of 1 to 10, and I said, please don't say that. And she said, why? What's wrong? What happened? Why are you so annoyed at that? I said, okay, I'm sorry. I'll have to explain the whole thing to you. But it's just.
Yeah, you know the things are out of hands when it starts linking with something that is not related to it.
Yeah, memes can
any
transcend
way, right?
conversations. It's difficult to keep them difficult to keep memes
Yeah,
from one
exactly.
group out of the other group because they're in your mind quite often, especially when they're always there again and again, the same meme posted in the group.
Yeah, and then memes were
Which
started
one?
circulating, and all the memes like Batman kicking, punching Robin or someone. Yeah, Akash made a few of them. Even I posted it, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how retarded do you think this fad is in the community? I didn't know how it started. I read someone's post and then someone else posted it, and then I thought I should do something.
I think Sripad posted the same meme as Akash within a minute of each other or something, which was the Batman meme.
Oh, yes. Within
So who was
seconds.
first?
I mean,
I
I'm sure
guess
they made it at the
Sripad.
same time, so who posted it first doesn't matter as much. They made it
Doesn't
independently.
matter. Yeah.
So,
Yes. The most diplomatic answer.
well, I mean, I'm sure Akash would not copy a meme, and I'm sure Sripad wouldn't copy a meme either.
Of course not. I mean,
Like, Akash Rupela memes
We are
used to
much
be
above that.
my favorite memes on SCIU interest, but that was maybe a few months ago. Lately, I think they've become more bulk memes. I don't find them as funny as I used to. But for me, currently, my favorite memer in SCIU would probably be Kunal Oak. His
Kunal
memes make
Oak,
me
yes,
laugh,
hands
except
down.
when they're directed at cheap Momo shots at Jeremy. I
Someone,
feel
yeah.
it can be
Oh,
funny
yes,
if it's
yes,
still
yes, yes.
original, but
No.
it's very hard to make that original now. They feel a bit like an easy target at this point. That's the only one which I'm not a big fan of anymore.
Yes.
Any advice you have for him?
Yeah, and Jeremy doesn't take it on his heart, right? He is like, okay.
Well, as far as we can
Nice.
tell.
Okay. Yeah, as far as we know. Okay,
Yeah, I
you
was
were saying
asking
something.
any advice for Kunal to up his game.
Start a meme
I don't
page.
think he
Also,
cares
what
enough
about you?
about them.
Yeah,
The moment you
monetize
try
your
to
ideas.
make memes for the meme page or get the likes, you'll start focusing more on what will people like, not on what memes make you laugh. Really, I feel it will just take away from the thing. That's one of the reasons why many people work not for profit. The moment you go for the profit, you lose what you were doing in the first place. So I think making a meme page isn't really. I mean, if that's your goal, great. But if you just want a bigger audience,
Yeah.
I think just keep improving your memes. You don't have to do much. Like make
Yeah, you have to go with the trend which
Because
you were previously
it-
creating, right? At this point, Kunal Oak and other memers are creating a
right
trend
because
of
it
memes.
starts with
Like they make one kind of meme, other people kind of follow the template
Right.
with
so
different
it
ideas.
starts
of
with
course,
a
and
meme
post
page,
it.
but then you think, okay,
But
maybe I
if-
can boost my page. Maybe I can get something like that. So it kind of ruins the whole thing for me anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so our favorite meme maker. What would we call someone who makes memes? Like meme lord or meme maker?
I mean,
meme maker is an app,
As
so
far as I know, I
it
just
is kind
say
of
memers.
Yeah, I would say the same. Memers.
memers. Memers, all right. CC approves memers. What else? We can talk about memes and their effect. Like how intelligent are cubing memes?
There are pretty stupid ones as well, but
All right. Have you ever come across to a meme like which you have a look, don't understand it, then you have a look for some minutes, and then it strikes you. Oh my God, it is very secretive, very intrusive kind of meme, but it is still funny. Like some memes are very self-expressing, others aren't,
Right. I
which
mean,
are usually
I'm
very funny.
sure I've seen memes which aren't explicitly out there that, okay, I'm slapstick, so laugh at me, but I don't specifically remember not getting it at first, like at the very first glance. I don't remember a particular meme that I saw it, I didn't get it, then I got it later. I'm sure that's happened a lot.
Yeah, if it happens to me, I read the comments and then I understand.
Right. If
I don't
you're
use my
talking
brain
about cubing
at all.
memes, that's not happening. In general, I have seen memes like that, of course, all the time. Where I have to search through the comments and look at what they're talking about.
Okay.
Especially the new loss memes. Is this loss? I didn't follow that meme at all, and I was so confused when people were posting it that I was really scourging through the comments looking for an explanation, and I never got one.
Alright. Yeah, because things with like memes in general is that earlier there used to be a trend. Like every meme page or every common general page used to post the same template with different idea, of course. Now there are different pages creating different kind of trends, which is kind of confusing. Like sometimes you don't even get the trend. Like every month has its kind of meme, right? But nowadays, I don't really see that working.
I mean, there are pages like 8shit who are not really creating memes but shit posts, which are like some would say like they're different from memes.
Yeah, which are
the same thing. It's not an exact science, is it? What is a meme?
Yeah, whose dog is it? Whose dog is it?
I suppose he belongs to him.
Okay, so it is a Japanese doggo.
Taiwan.
So Japanese or what?
A Taiwanese.
Yeah, that is
Right.
Taiwan. Taiwanese doggo. Which is soon to be set in your platter.
Not yet.
Yeah, that's very dark.
Oh, previously we were talking about the records, and we forgot to mention the big record which we had this month, which was the national record from Ujjwal Pabreja, which was set at SNE Open 2018, 7.50.
Yes.
Like honestly, I don't think anyone expected it. No disrespect to Ujjwal. Yeah.
Even Ujjwal didn't, because as a matter of fact, his thumb was injured or something. Like he was cutting something and then he cut his thumb as well. Yeah, and the very next day, what I hear is I came back to my home, and what I hear is Ujjwal has made an NR, and that too in 3x3x3. Respect for you, Ujjwal. Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I think nobody expected it, but I know one person especially was very salty after the NR. I think we both know who that is.
Indeed.
Alright.
I don't think it matters if we don't say his name or we say it.
Deserve a mention or?
Of course, I'm pretty sure you're talking about Arnav Arora.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Arnav Arora. Shout out.
Mention because we must mention that he had no skips in his average.
Oh, okay. Now I get it. Oh my God, I'm such a tube light. Okay, yes. Okay, now, oh my God.
And he got a 7.83 average, so that's good for NR3 right now.
Yes, it is.
It's barely...
Oh yes, 7.61 is
I think it's
Aryan Chhabra, right?
8.1 or was it 6.1? Okay.
6.1 I guess. As far as
I honestly don't keep up to date with the records anymore because they change every few weeks, maybe once every month.
Because they are very perpetual.
And speaking of SNU Open, which was an amazing competition, I think it's the best competition as capital cubing which we've organized till date, and so hopefully it only gets better from here. We do have our next competition, which is Big Cube Bonanza coming up, and if there are any of you out there who are really keen on big cubes, this is the event for you. I mean, there's not much competition for podium because
Yeah.
the top few people are way ahead of the others. But I think it's going to be an interesting event. Like, we do try to have 1 or 2 competitions a year where we don't have mainstream events. So this is the first one for 2018, and it's going to be a good.
Oh, yes.
It's going to be a relaxed
And it is going to be awesome,
competition. No, we don't need a tight schedule. We've got not too many competitors. It's going to be good fun, and I don't think we expect many national records because there won't be, say, Dhruv, Suresh, Anish, Rajesh. Maybe Jeremy will not be there, but you can never rule out national records when you've got people like Kunal and Shivam Bansal also possibly participating.
Yeah, there's Big BLD as well, so Shivam's always
Big
a
big
threat
blind,
for
of
that.
course. Shivam is there, but I was thinking just about big cubes. Was Shivam was also pretty good at big cubes. He still is, of course, and there was a time when we had Sukant Kaul and even Piyush Pasi at one time where they were possibly threats for big cubes, but
Big shot for big cubes at big
right.
cube
But I don't
bonanza.
think they're in that race any longer. Sukant barely seems to be doing big cubes, and Piyush barely seems to be cubing in the first place.
Yeah, he
So
has a
that's
lot of work
about
to do.
Big Cube
Except
Bonanza.
for
And
cubing, of course.
registrations are still open, and it's in 2 weeks. We're going to end registration soon. So if you're interested, you can. I don't know on what date this podcast is going out, but if the registrations are still open,
Yeah. Today is 24th April for the reference, and registrations are open for 30th
right?
of
So if you're
April, I
interested,
guess.
you can always find the registration on WCA, and we can see you at Big Cube Bonanza. And
Yes.
before we end this podcast, we have a few more Facebook questions, which are for our special
For
guest. Hari.
our special
I
guest.
think we can all take those.
Well, so the first one is from Sahil Bhutani, which are tips to solve the 3x3, which is a bit of an unfortunate question because we were going to have Kunal Oak here, and he could have possibly given better tips than the three of us, since none of us is really amongst the top cubers in 3x3.
Yeah. We can try to answer this in sort of memers way. Like, tips to solve 3x3 has to be the most cliched question someone could have ever asked. Like,
I mean,
no
yeah,
one can
tips to
argue
solve
to
3x3,
that, right?
tips to get better. These are the common questions, but honestly, I feel the answer is just as cliched, which is, practice or look ahead or.
Practice. Yeah. See, the thing is, we were taking these interviews for inside the premises of SNU, okay? And there's this one guy, I won't name him, and we took his interview, okay? Like, what are the tips for solving to get better at Megaminx? So he made a very long premise, like, my name is this, I am from there, and I do this, I have this average, and answer to your
Right, so
question.
there's no specific answer on tips to solve the 3x3 faster. I mean, for me personally, I would say, as long as you don't get bored of solving the cube, don't stop. Like, if you don't get faster, it doesn't matter as long as you enjoy it. At some point, I really got bored of cubing, and I was considering
Yeah.
quitting, but that's when I decided, okay, I don't have to quit. I'll just switch to Roo, which kind of kept me in cubing, and it's much more fun now.
Okay, change the whole experience.
Exactly,
you
like I
started
went from
scratch again.
around 13 seconds back to around
Yeah.
40. So it's been like a fun challenge to come back to the
Okay.
same speed. I'm not there yet because now I'm busy with college. Earlier I was in school, so I had much more free time. But
Great. Yeah, if that happens with me, like, I get really bored of a cube, I just buy another one. Like, if I am getting bored with 3x3, I buy a 4x4 and then 5x5, and then I bought a Megamix. I am noob at every single one of them, don't get me wrong, but it is
Right,
a fresh
so-
experience every time.
to
So
get
what do
faster,
you do, Hari, if you get bored with a cube or a puzzle?
I don't know, like right now, the last few months, I haven't really had the motivation to practice. So I pretty much have all the WCA puzzles except I'm missing a 6x6. But I don't do big cubes, so I just stick to small cubes plus all the blind events. So I have other hobbies on the side
Alright.
which I just do in times like this when I'm bored of practicing.
I think we did cover those in the Ask Me Anything video as well. I'm surprised that we
Alright.
were.
Yeah, I
So
was
we can
about
move on to
say
the next question, which is actually a three-part
Uh,
question, and all
yeah.
three parts seem pretty unrelated to each other,
Oh,
which is
yes.
refreshing.
Amazing.
This comes from Aritro Sengupta,
Oh,
and
yes.
his first question is cubicle or speed cube shop, and I cannot answer this question because I haven't used either of them ever. Have you?
Yes, I've used both. I have speed cube shops 4x4 and 5x5. Wukwei M and Wuchwei M, I don't know how you pronounce it, and
Wuchwei.
Wuchwang M.
Right.
So I don't own the cubicle 4x4 or 5x5, but I've tried Shivam's. So I would say the cubicle 4x4 is better. All these are magnetic, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And the speed cube shop 5x5, in my opinion, is a little better. So it depends on who you ask. So I guess out of the box, cubicles are a little better, but with break-in, I would say it's pretty much even.
Pretty much even. So I suppose that answers about as
Alright.
a puzzle modder or as the quality of their service. But I guess there are other factors like their pricing or how long they take to ship out to India. Are they comparable in all of those aspects, or is there a big difference?
Yeah. Or is that worth it to import the cubes from India, given that they are available in India? Like if they aren't, then there is no question. But if the same cube is say available in India as well as in the US, I believe both of them are from
cubicle
US.
is from I think upstate
Yeah,
New
so-
York, and SCS is from Bakerfield in California, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So coming to the
So is
cost,
it worth it?
I'm not sure of the latest prices. So when I was looking for a purchase, maybe end of last year, Speedcube shop was slightly not slightly, it was quite a bit more expensive. But now I think they've knocked down the prices. Especially they've
Okay.
launched a new Supernova line. So I've not tried those, but they're really cheap for what they're making. So they're magnetic cubes which are barely above the price of non-magnetic cubes.
Alright. The second question is the age when you
I
started.
think we did discuss that already when we talked about how did we get into cubing. But just to recap, I started in 2013, so I was
Oh, yeah.
around 15, I suppose, 14 or 15. Hari?
And Vibhu?
Alright. So how old were you?
Yeah, so I learned how to solve it in 2012, so I was 18 years old, and I went to my first competition in 2013.
And
Okay, and I was
16.
16.
that's a pretty straightforward question.
Yeah, when I
we've,
started.
we've diverted a lot on all of them. I'm glad we haven't found something to divert on this one. And the third one, I think, is my
Yeah.
favorite question so far, which is FIFA World Cup winner predictions. I don't know if any of you follow football, but I certainly do.
Oh, I do. The answer
The
is
World Cup doesn't
Barcelona.
have Barcelona, Vibhu.
Yeah, that, understand my sarcasm, please.
So who's your pick?
My pick?
Yeah.
It's a difficult one because there are a few teams which are really strong this year, but history indicates that they don't have much experience winning World Cups. Like, I have a feeling Argentina has a great team, England has a great team, and Italy could have been there if they would have qualified, but they didn't qualify in the first place. So I think the top three, I would say, would be between Spain, Germany, and Brazil for this World Cup. I think these three would be the favorites to win, and the wild card would be Argentina, England, and Portugal. Any of the other two of you?
Okay. What about your opinion?
Yeah, I'm not a big
Hari?
football fan. I'm more of a basketball fan. So the NBA playoffs are going on now, and I'm following that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to guess,
Wow.
probably Germany, just based on the fact that they won the previous World Cup and they've been pretty consistent throughout.
Yeah, I have a strong feeling Germany will at least make it into the
Okay.
finals or the semi-finals. And I've been following football for a long time, but I took a break maybe last year. I didn't watch any football, and I've recently gotten back into it. So I'm keeping up with the teams for now. But in fact, today before we
Yeah, for an Asian, it is even more difficult to follow football, right? Like the FIFA World Cup matches don't seem to
I
synchronize with
think
your
that would only be
sleeping
a problem
schedule.
if I had a sleeping schedule. But since I don't have one,
Oh my
like
god.
for example, after this podcast, I'm going to be awake for a few more hours because there's a game at 2:45, and I'm
Oh, for all of those who don't know, Kostub is helping us record this podcast from
I think it's closer to
3,000
6,000.
kilometers?
Wow.
Wow, 6,000
Taiwan.
kilometers in what
So my
country?
time zone
Taiwan.
is already 2 and a
So
half hours
special
ahead.
thanks to him and to our
And we
special
have
guest.
the last Oscar, which is
Yeah,
Sayatan Meiti. I hope I pronounced that name right. And his first question is, will a sub-7 average be possible by the end of May? I don't know if he means officially will someone get this in India, but let's assume that's what he's asking. Do you think there will be an Indian with an official sub-7 average by
Okay.
the end of May?
Okay, in my opinion, I don't think it's going to happen
I quite agree.
because there's very limited time. By the end of May, the only major competition I see coming is Indian Nationals, of course, on May 25, 26, 27. So even though there are 4 rounds of 3x3, I think you have to factor in nerves and pressure. So I'm
It
not
is the
sure that
biggest
even
stage.
the top solvers are going to be performing at their peak.
I mean,
during
what
the
I've
max.
noticed is that at nationals, mostly the national champions, while they will be great in the initial rounds, in the final they may not have their best average.
Right.
So there's a lot of pressure in the nationals, and I don't think a fluke sub-7 average is going to happen in a month and a half, or less than that at this point, just about a month and a week. So
Right.
I don't think a sub-7 average is anywhere near the horizon right now. And the next one is a prediction that who will get the first
Alright.
sub-5 single in India, the national record as sub-5.
Wow.
You want to go first?
Me, if I had to go first, I would say
Oh, we have
it
no
would
clue.
be Vijay Kishore.
Any backing or
and-
reasoning?
Well, he's been consistent for a long time, and he's still pretty fast. I mean, there aren't many top 3x3 solvers who've been top for a few years now. Like Aryan Chhabra, a few years ago, no one knew who he is. Kunal Oak, since before Aryan, but a similar story. Not amongst the oldest members of the community, but Vijay has been consistently being really fast at 3x3. I think he could, but if it's a lucky solve, it could be anyone. I mean, it could be any of the top 10 national rankers to get a sub 5 single, because it's probably going to have a skip, maybe a last layer skip or something like that. At that point, I don't think your speed matters as much as your luck.
I would be really interested
What
to
about
see
you?
Rushil Dalal compete in more competitions, because I remembered his name when Kunal posted his nationals predictions today. So he had mentioned Rushil winning 3x3 at Indian Nationals, and I was quite surprised.
Rushil
But
does
then
have the
when you
national record single, doesn't he?
Yes, he used to have the 5.61, right?
I'm not sure how much it is, but I'm certain that he is still the national record holder. for
Right.
the single.
Okay, my bad. I was thinking about something else. So yes, he still has the NR single. So, and that was a PLL skip, I believe. And as Alek Bhatia, another member of the community,
Okay.
keeps reminding me, Rushil uses the most pathetic hardware. So, Rushil, if you're listening to this, please upgrade your hardware, and you might get that sub 5 single.
Wow.
How about you, Vibhu? Any predictions?
All the way, Rushil. Okay, with my experience, I would say Rushil, because considering his hardware is poor, I don't know, 0.5 seconds with the best hardware available. Like, his current single is 5.61. 0.5 second, 0.6 second single after a hardware upgrade shouldn't be a very big deal. And of course, luck matters if we are talking about 3x3 single. So I'll go with
Right, so
Dela.
that's it for the questions which we had from Facebook. And I believe this is the end of every segment we had planned for this edition of the podcast. And
yes, we did
certainly,
have fun.
this was a smaller podcast than usual. We normally have 4 or 5 people. We decided to go with 3 today and see how it turns out. So hopefully you guys enjoyed listening to that, and we might see some of you at Big Cube Bonanza. I won't see any of you there because I'll be several thousand kilometers away. But
Same here.
So we'll probably hurry.
I'll be there. So if you see me,
And as always, stay tuned for the next episode. You can subscribe to the Capital Cubing channel so you never miss a podcast or any of the competition videos. And see you in the next podcast.
Thank you,
Hari, for joining.
We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.